Our story begins in the year 22 BBY, shortly after the events of Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Our story opens at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, where Master Mace Windu speaks with the holographic form of Jedi Master Kiadi Mundi. Master Windu is deeply troubled by the recent loss of Jedi Knights on Geonosis, and worried about the new position of generals the Jedi Knights now have taken on for the Republic. The Jedi have always been the champions of peace for the galaxy. I suppose sometimes that means being a sword instead of a shield. Mace and Mundi are soon called to meet with the Jedi Council. Windu stands before them as Grand Master Yoda presents him with a mission. Separatist vessels have made planetfall on the jungle planet Hisrich. Windu was tasked with leading a small unit to monitor the Separatists and determine what their purpose on the planet is. While no clone troopers could be spared, Windu was allowed to put together a team of 3 other Jedi to aid him on his journey. Kit Fisto. He fought bravely by my side on Geonosis, and I can think of no one I trust more to go into battle with. Proset Dibs. His lack of physical sight has gifted him great intuition. He will provide valuable insight and reconnaissance for this mission. Risa Mano, a pilot rivaling the skill of Master Plo Koon himself. She may be young, but her mind for engineering and her potential in battle far exceeds someone of her age. Upon the completion of the council's meeting, Yoda asks Master Windu to stay behind to speak with him. Troubled you seem, my friend. Care to lighten your burden? Mace expresses the doubt he has recently been feeling about his ability to lead, knowing that he had led many Jedi into battle that ultimately cost them their lives. He did not wish to potentially lead more to their death. Yoda affirms his trust in Master Windu, explaining to him that while some Jedi may fall, the lives lost would be greater if the Jedi didn't proceed with their new task as generals in the Republic Army. Master Windu and his team set off for Hisrich on the transport ship, the West Wind. On the ship, Proset Dibs expresses his concern to Kit Fisto in taking part of a war. The Force, it shudders. War is no place for a Jedi. We're exactly where we're meant to be, said Mace, walking into their conversation. The group begins to go over the plan for their arrival. Windu explains the planet is in perpetual darkness, only seeing 1 hour of sunlight per month. The Jedi land on Hisrich and prepare to make their way to the main droid outpost. Windu pulls Proset aside as he apologizes for his earlier comments. Windu shares some advice given to him by Grand Master Yoda. Meanwhile, Risa Mano talks with Kit Fisto, gushing over getting the opportunity to so closely work with Master Mace Windu, one of her role models. The group makes their way to the outpost, hidden by wildlife, when they find their way to a clearing. In the clearing, a small group of droids patrol the area. The Jedi leap from cover, surprising the patrol squadron, and make quick work of the clankers. Just as the Jedi thought their fight was over, they sense the presence of creatures surrounding them. From a distance, a lone battle droid witnesses the group of Jedi's attacks and rushes off to inform its commander, ADW-4, Mercenary Droid for Hire. In issue 2 of the comic series, we open in a subterranean cave, as our Jedi are led by the creatures who had surrounded them earlier. Unable to speak the creature's language, the Jedi are cautious but sense no malice. Our inability to speak the same language does not equal an incapability to communicate. The caverns eventually lead to a massive opening, a giant underground city, home to these creatures. The Jedi were concerned word of their earlier battle had made its way to the droid outpost, wonder if their new acquaintances might have had any run-ins with the Separatists. The creatures lead the Force users to an unpowered battle droid. Our story briefly shifts to the droid outpost, where we see AD commanding battle droids, readying them for their next attack. Back underground, Risa examines the fallen droid and determines she might be able to remove data from the droid. Concerned, Windu asked if it's operational enough for you to retrieve data from it. Is it possible it could still transmit information as well? Just then, Separatist forces break through the surface of the ground as droids rush in, attacking the Jedi and the underground creatures. The Jedi begin fighting off the droids, while trying to protect as many citizens of the underground city as they could. While the other Jedi handle the chaos around them, Mace comes face to face with the bounty hunter droid high above the underground city. The two battle physically as well as verbally. "We fight for a greater cause. The greatest cause there is. Peace throughout the galaxy."
Imposing your own moral compass on the galaxy is the height of arrogance.
AD sends Windu plummeting to the bottom of the sunken city. As he makes his escape, Kit Fisto uses the Force to slow Master Windu's fall. Windu commands Fisto and Dibs to stay behind, fighting off the remaining droids and taking care of the underground citizens. As he and Risa chase after AD, the two make it back to the surface of the planet as they encounter what appear to be harvesting droids, ripping the plant life directly from the Earth, causing instability to the underground city. Windu and Risa begin to destroy the large droids, as Fisto and Dibs attempt to use the Force to save citizens from a massive cave-in. Finished with the droids, Mace and Risa get a better look at the surrounding area. The two see nothing but destruction by a fleet of the same harvesting droids. Issue number 3 of the comic series opens in a flashback scene as we see AD meet with the Supreme Commander of the Separatist droid army, General Grievous. Sitting down, the two begin to discuss the Separatist needs for the bounty hunter's service. The Separatists had become aware of the Republic's knowledge of their work on Hisrich, and they were offering a handsome reward for somebody to take care of any Jedi interference.
When do I leave?
We return to Windu and Risa on Hisrich, destroying battle droids as well as the harvesting droids the duo had stumbled upon. Worried about the two other Jedi, Risa asks Windu if they should return underground to help. However, Mace feels it best to continue on their mission, locating the enemy's base of operation. Down below, we find Kit Fisto and Proset Dibs trapped in the darkness as the underground city structure had collapsed in on itself. Sensing no sign of life, the Jedi proceed forward in hopes of rescuing those trapped underground. Before they could search long, they stumbled upon a giant centipede-like beast. The two use their green sabers to make quick work of the angry creature. Meanwhile, AD communicates with General Grievous through hologram, informing him he had killed Jedi Mace Windu. Grievous, shocked and untrusting, instructs him to bring the fallen Jedi's lightsabers, and he will be paid his due. Ending the communication, AD sets out to collect Grievous's prize. As well, patrol droids begin to receive new orders to hunt down and obtain the sabers of their Jedi adversaries. Beginning to feel outnumbered, Mace and Risa head back to their ship to hopefully regroup with their fellow Jedi. Back underground, Fisto and Dibs stumble upon a large group of Hisrich creatures, seemingly dead from the cave-in. Proset becomes filled with grief and anger. They make their way above ground to meet with Mace and Risa. Proset became furious with Windu, accusing him and the Jedi Council for having ulterior motives here on Hisrich. "I never agreed with the Jedi role in this war. The Council hides behind the veil of war, but they are here with the same reason as the Confederacy, a power grab." Proset punches Mace in the face and ignites his saber. "I will put an end to your deceptions." Mace collects himself and ignites his purple blade as well. In the 4th issue of the comic, we open on the planet Mathis, many years before, as Windu, an apprentice, and his master, Sislin Mir, investigate an outreach temple. The Jedi overseeing the temple had not been heard from in months, and reports indicated a man named Druz had been posing as a Jedi prophet, profiting off the suffering individuals on the planet. The two proceed to the temple to confront and apprehend the imposter. We flash forward to Hisrich as Dibs and Windu clash sabers and argue current Jedi politics. Kit Fisto and Risa watch on. Distraught by the situation, but knowing their interference would not help solve the matter. We flash back to Mathis years earlier, as the imposter Jedi promises miracles from the Force in return for faith and money from the citizens of this planet. Master Mir confronts the man, who becomes visibly nervous and instructs his followers to kill the true Jedi. "These are heretics! Kill them in the name of the Force!" As the Jedi fend off the citizens, Drew sets off a thermal detonator, causing the temple to begin to collapse and set fire. Master Mir holds back the destruction by using the Force and sends Mace to apprehend the false prophet. Mace races through the temple's halls, chasing down Drews, who fires a blaster at the young Padawan, nicking his shoulder. The two stand off as smoke from the fire begins to fill the hallways. Mace, using the smoke as cover, removed the blaster from Drews' hand, breaking his nose, and threatened to kill the con man. Master Mir calls out to Windu, calming him and saving the imposter's life. Back on Hisrich, Windu is able to best dibs in combat, separating him from his saber, putting the two in the very same position as Mace's younger self on Mathis. Windu pauses, but throws his unignited lightsaber hilt at the head of Dibs, rendering him unconscious. We will bring him before the Jedi Council to decide his fate. The three Jedi bind Proset and leave him on their ship as they proceed on with their mission. At the Separatist outpost, ADW-4 watches over the droid's search for the Jedi. Just then, an explosion goes off to reveal Master Fisto. I do apologize for the boisterous entrance, but this is a raid. In the final entry of the comic series, Kit Fisto swiftly and easily cuts down battle droids. Meanwhile, Mace and Risa sneak into the droid base's ventilation system. The two split up, with Risa off to help Master Fisto and Mace off to confront ADW-4. Mace and the bounty hunter droid face off in another intense battle of both mind and body. Too bad you can't register emotions, because I would like to see the look of worry on your face.
I know you, Master Windu. I see inside your very being.
Mace's blade makes contact with the droid, disarming him and rendering him immobile. Meanwhile, Risa helps Master Fisto clear the area of droids and set off to complete their final task. Windu and the fallen droid watch as a ship begins to take off.
While you've been wasting time playing the hero down here, the purpose of your power trip has just escaped you.
You weren't the only one biding time. Just then, the ship explodes behind Windu. ADW-4 makes one final attempt to escape, ejecting his head from the rest of his body. Windu uses the Force to crush the head of the bounty hunter, causing it to explode as well. In the final scene of the comic, we return to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, as Proset stands before the Jedi Council, charged with attacking a Jedi Master, heresy, and insubordination. The Council asks Proset to explain himself, giving him one final opportunity to defend himself before his punishment. I have spoken my piece. There is no defense I can give. You will do with me what you will. It is to be expected of tyrants. Is my punishment not death? Mace stood up to address Dibs. No, I move for Proset's punishment to be confined to work in the library. Perhaps he will learn something that somewhere along his journey he seems to have forgotten. Later that evening, Risa asks Windu about why he didn't punish Proset any further. Mace explained how although his feelings were misguided, he understood where it came from, and that it would be a waste to lose a talent like his in the face of the difficult and strenuous battles ahead.